Melanin is associated with the color of your skin. However, this pigment called melanin is part of your nervous system and your brain, and is basically the chemical key to life. It is called a civilizing chemical because it regulates all the rhythms in your body, when your eyebrows should grow, when you should become a man, puberty, when you should become a woman, what time your liver should be fed, what time your heart should be fed. It regulates all the rhythmicity of your system. It's a synchronizing chemical, better known as a civilizing chemical. It is how we classify races based on the pigment that they have. We're classified on the highest on the racial scale by the Europeans themselves. Everyone else has a lesser degree of melanin, and the Europeans classify themselves as having the least amount of melanin of any race. This causes them to have more ammonia in their system than black people, and more sulfur. I think it's the only time you smell it is when their hair gets wet. You're smelling the ammonia and sulfur. Sulfur makes things smell rotten, and they have more salt in their body than you do, and they have the least amount of peripheral circulation, which is circulation to your skin, than you do. The problem with ammonia is that if you put it in like a sub-degree temperature, it will boil. When you put it in a hot oven around 300 degrees Fahrenheit or so, it will freeze. It's a very tricky chemical. And that's why you walk into a room and it's very cold, and white people in it, they feel comfortable. Because the ammonia is making them feel warm. That's why you see them walking around with shorts in the snow. They have a lot of ammonia. They are biochemically different from you. The melanin is the chemical that's high in your ears, which causes you to absorb more sound in a sound. You hear the full range of a sound. No race can do that except you. Melanin is high in your brown part of your eyes, called the iris, named after a goddess called Isis. So it causes you to absorb more color when you see a color. You're the only one can see the true color of a color. Everyone else is seeing a paler blue, a paler red, a paler green. So you see the world differently, and you hear the world differently. Melanin is high in your taste buds, which causes you to taste the full flavor of the food, which sets up what we call enzymes to help you break down more nutrients in the food with less energy. We call it conversion reaction. It takes less energy for you to get energy from the food. Europeans have to have worms and parasites and other dead things in their body to help them metabolize food, but that's good for them. I just want you to keep in mind that all worms and parasites are white, so I'm not going to go into that subject either. Nonetheless, we have this melanin in our system, and it's high in your brain, which causes you to store more information in your brain. We call it ancestral memory. This is blocked by a chemical called synthetic oxytocin given to women when they're pregnant, trying to induce labor, which causes the child to have blocked ancestral memory. Can't connect to their past too well. They don't want to hear none of that black stuff, you know? So you have this melanin in your body, and it's primarily secreted, made in your intestines. It's made in all parts of your body, like blood cells are made in all parts of your body. It's primarily secreted by a gland called the pineal gland, which is in the center of your brain, in a water-filled space called the third ventricle. And inside of this ventricle, this water-filled space in your center of your brain, is the pineal gland. It's about the size of a pea, a green pea, and it's shaped like a pine cone, thus the name pineal gland. It, of course, spins like the planets do. It has rotations, which are originally set in motion by hearing your father and smelling your mother. It causes a lateral and horizontal quiver reaction in the pineal gland that causes the child to be bonded to you in a special way that they can't be bonded to a parent that adopts them. This is the pineal gland. The problem with the pineal gland is most of the information is controlled by the military. And the military use that to invent what you call computer chips today. These computer chips crystallize as similar to the melanin. All we know is that if you want to create a drug, you have to destroy, speed up, or slow down melanin. There's a chemist who founded a chemical company called Eli Lilly that makes Prozac and other drugs. He said a drug that doesn't work on melanin is not a drug at all. And that's how we measure whether a drug is effective or not. We call it the half-life, how long it takes a drug to spike its highest level of action. So we measure drugs' action by, well, it slows down or speeds up or destroys melanin. The primary reason why we don't know anything about melanin is because no one black has ever been invited to the melanin conferences held by white people, Japanese people, Germans, and Italians in history. They hold a conference about you, and none of us are ever invited. We have it every 3 years. They are always studying and updating information on melanin. That's how you control behaviors. That's what you call the nucleus of the cell. Every cell has a brain, and the brain of the cells in your body is melanin. So to study melanin is to study biology. But they never mention the word melanin in a biology class because they don't want to get you aware of what's really going on. Then we study melanin particles called electrons and protons and solitons and neutrons. We start calling that chemi after the word chemet. And you study melanin particles and we call that chemistry. But they're never going to tell you they're studying melanin because you may get wise to the game and know that the only thing there is to study is you on this planet. All devices are caused by the ability of melanin to create different kind of energy force fields, as people like to say today. It causes energy to spin to the left and to the right, which we call DL and L-phenylalanine and L-glutamine. We give it the names based on spinning. We do that a lot in chemistry. We name things after how it spins, or we name things after the color. Riboflavins, rutins, phytoflavonoids. We give things names by color. We give things names by numbers. Vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B3. And we give things numbers by Latin names. Omega, beta, omega-3, those are Latin names that we give substances. All we do is rename the same thing, but switch the way in which we name it. One time we name it by letters, the next time we name it by colors, the next time we name it by numbers, and then you sit there totally behooved at what's going on, and all we're doing is talking about you, black. But the idea is to keep you totally confused and to some way manipulate your melanin. As I mentioned before, a lot of the research is done by the military because they need to know this. This is how you cause people to be dysfunctional. This is how you cause people to be functional. It's by your ability to manipulate and control melanin. Now, there's some black people who don't think they're black because they're not as black as someone from Somalia or something. But that man is just as black as that man. It's the melanin inside of his body that we measure, not the skin. It's the melanin inside of his body that we measure. Because you can meet some coconuts that are just as white as and you know what I'm saying. So we measure the melanin inside of the body, not the skin melanin, because this can change. Melanin is a very adaptive kind of chemical. That's why the people that can endure the most cold weather in the world are Eskimos, and they are colored people. They are not white. Because the melanin has adaptive ability, what you call evolution. We don't want you to know that all it is we're talking about is adaptation, which is caused by melanin, so we say evolution. We're naming the behavior of melanin, so you won't know that that's what we're talking about. You say free radicals and antioxidants and give it all these names. All we're talking about is how melanin reacts and acts on a chemical. But the objective in science is never to use the word melanin. Never. Now, there are certain things that are done in your body, such as reproduction, that's mostly mediated by melanin. It's the ability of the sperm to transport a black dot, and that black dot is melanin. And once that black dot strikes the egg, electrical spark goes off very high and causes a spin inside of the egg so the egg and the sperm can be on the same frequency. But we don't want to tell you those things, not in science. We don't tell you that lightning starts from the earth and goes up. You think lightning comes from the sky. All the metals on the earth. Metal conducts electricity. The electricity starts from the earth and goes up to the sky. And when you see it meeting its male or female component, a spark goes off of harmony. And you say, oh, the lightning strikes me. No, the earth struck you. You were struck by the earth. But we are educated backwards so we can't understand the process of what's going on. Because nobody wants an intelligent black person. That's a dangerous black person. We want you to be as stupid as possible and practice being stupid on each other. Some people call it love. It's just two morons together. So we're trying to understand what is this biochemical thing called melanin, why are people talking about it, and all that sort of rut. But we're talking about it because that's the only thing in your body worth studying. That's the only way a chemical acts. That's the only way a vitamin or a mineral acts. It's called melanin. That's what harmonizes them together. That's why we study elements. Elements in science are called oxygen, nitrogen, ammonia, calcium, magnesium, potassium, mercury. We call those elements. And these elements are unified and dispersed by something called melanin. We have three major behaviors that a substance such as melanin, or yourself, because you're a collection of elements, oxygen, calcium, magnesium. So it's three major behaviors you can have. You can either join together in harmony, which we call synthesis, synchronized harmony. You can join together in harmony, which we call synthesis. Or you can join together and decompose each other, which we call decomposition. What are those two behaviors I just named? Can anybody repeat that? I don't hear you. They're listening. And the third behavior, of course, is displacement. Which means if I don't like you and I come in a room, you stay in that place and I'm going to stay in this place. That's displacement. Those are the three behaviors that an element can have. And those behaviors are given birth by something called melanin. Melanin comes in various forms. It comes in a gas form, a liquid form, and a solid form. The only form we're talking about in European chemistry is the solid form, because we only deal with things we can measure and weigh, which we call objective measurements. We deal with objects. Subjective measurements we don't deal with, because that's something you got to feel. You got to feel this is all right. You got to feel that this person is okay. That's a melanin thing, because the more melanin you have, the more psychic you are. The more melanin you have, the more spiritual you are. The more melanin you have, the more intelligent you are. The more melanin you have, the more human you are. That's why we gauge human beings by that. It's a humanizing chemical. The people with the least amount of melanin are the Europeans, the Caucasians, the white people, the melanin-challenged people. They have the least amount by their definition. Now let's just take this melanin journey. I told you it's carried by the sperm, and it unites with the egg, and it causes two different spins to occur. We're just going to follow this melanin through its whole journey in life. to find out how our journey is going to be dictated. But we don't want to tell you we're following melanin particles. We're going to call it DNA, which is a string of melanin wrapped around some sugar called ribose. See, we're not going to tell you, we're never going to tell you we're studying melanin. So we have these two strings of melanin, like you had banisters on us walking up a step. You see, one banister is melanin and the other banister is melanin. They're united by a protein, which you call your genetic code. And the protein is the stairs that unite both sides together. And we call that whole string with the steps DNA. And this DNA is dancing. It has a rhythmicity to it. You see, it's synchronizing the steps. Now, melanin is the center of all of this. But we have two ways to alter this melanin. We can alter this melanin by nature or by nurture. If I alter it by nature, you say, that's innate talent. If I alter it by nurture, you say, oh, he learned that from his mother, his grandpa. That's nurturing, where you get it from your environment. Things that are not made by the environment is called nature. So we can alter your thought process by nature or by nurture. And melanin is going to adapt. It's going to adapt to a hostile environment. It's going to adapt to an environment that's pleasant. Or the environment don't want to be in that place. It's going to deplace. Now then, melanin is adapting to the environment by nature or by nurture. By nature, some people say the nature of a person is to fight to be alive, fight and flight. That's man. But the nature is also to tend and befriend. That's female. The problem with science, the problem with you, the problem with the planet, the problem with biology, the problem with history, the problem with religion, the problem with insanity, the problem with your brain is that everything is named after man. Your brain is named after a man called Oedipus, a little boy who wanted to have sex with his mother, so he killed his father. Oh yes, your brain is named after man. History is named after men. Tutankhamun, Ramesses, Napoleon. History is men. Biology is men. Newton, all these Aristotle, Paracelsus. Everything is male orientated, so you're only getting one side of the whole story. Yeah, you're not only getting his story, you're getting a homo. Never mind, I don't want to go home. You're getting a lot of flavor there. So the way we're looking at each other and the way we look at chemistry is kind of like distorted like that. So we're not really seeing the picture of what's going on. You have to look at it from both your male and female components of you, your nature and your nurture, your fight and flight, tend and befriend, your acid and your alkaline, your positive and your negative. You have to look at it from both perspectives. And what's putting these both perspectives together in synchronicity and harmony is melanin. Now, if I'm looking at this whole process of how things are getting along together, the process of life, because we're looking at life when we look at melanin. We're looking at how life starts when we look at melanin. We're looking at how life unfolds itself by breathing out and breathing in, by day and night. We're looking at the unfoldment of these two elements and what brings them together in harmony is melanin. Because it synchronizes, it civilizes them so they can act together. Now, with this process, you're looking at things differently. An example of that would be a tiger chasing deer. And the tiger's chasing the deer and killing the deer, and you looking at it and say, what a horrible animal that tiger is. He's just killing them damn deers. Now, if you are one of those conscious black people, you can say, stop in this whole scenario and say, I wonder where the tiger came from. All the herd, I wonder where white people came from. No, you're going to keep running. You ain't got time for that kind of foolishness. I wonder where white people came from. No. Did the deer stop and say, I wonder where the tiger came from? No. They just keep running. So we're looking at a relationship we call symbiosis, synchronized relationship. We're back to melanin, but we don't want to say melanin. We want to use any word except melanin. So we're going to say symbiosis. The tiger is running after the deer. Is that a mobile phone? Ice cream for ice cream. Sugar and milk. I don't know why people pay so much money for it. Nonetheless, tiger's chasing the deer. But if the tiger speeds up, the deer will speed up. If the tiger slows down, the deer will slow down. If the deer speeds up, the tiger will speed up. If the deer slows down, the tiger will slow down. They have a relationship. Because the herd of deer know that if they didn't have the tiger, they would be destroyed. Because the tiger gets rid of the weak and the sick. And they're too old to keep up with the herd. So if they didn't get rid of that, then lions could prey on them. Leopards could prey on them. All the animals could prey on them because they're carrying around the sick, the tired, and the weak. So the tiger is actually doing the herd a favor. The tiger is actually a disposal system for the herd. The tiger is actually working for the herd, getting rid of the weak, the sick, the Uncle Toms, you know what I mean? So the herd can move forward. But if you're looking at it one side, you just see, oh, the tiger's just preying on those deer. No, the tiger's working for the deer, getting rid of the sick, the weak, the ones who can't keep up with the herd because they slow down with so much. Everybody's going to get them. Hyenas, everybody. You see? Now we're looking at both sides of the relationship. Now we're looking at nature and nurture. The herd is nurturing the tiger. The tiger is nurturing the herd. Now we're looking at both sides now. And that's what we have to do to re-establish our melanin. We have to look at how we function, because functionality is melanin. Function is melanin. That's all we're looking at, because there's nothing else to study, there's nothing else to look at in science. Now, we know that there's certain things that destroy our melanin, such as spiritual betrayal, spiritual suicide, because we go spirit, mind, body. Europeans go body, mind, spirit. We go spirit, mind, body. White folks go body, mind, spirit. That's their way to go. We know we come from the spirit world that manifests as mind, that manifests as body. We come from the spirit world. That's what we believe. So we're looking at spiritual betrayal, spiritual suicide. People do this sort of thing. They don't believe they're doing this thing because they don't understand what we're talking about. See? If I say I cursed you, that means I said something bad would happen to you in the future. If I say something obscene to you, obscenity is talking about your body. Are you still with me? I can either curse your future, say something obscene to you, which is talking about your body, or say something profane. You're just twice as intelligent as Einstein. I'm saying something profane. That's profanity. So you have profanity, you have obscenity, and you have cursing. You have to know these degrees of things. So when we're making that kind of movement, we're saying, I don't think I can do that. Why are you cursing yourself like that? Why are you cursing your future? You see, you God not cursing yourself. So he ain't going to amount to nothing. He going to get what he deserved. You're cursing his future. Are you following me? We're going around cursing ourselves, cursing our future, cursing others, which means we're going against the cursor, the movement of life, your melanin. Now we're going into some spiritual suicide, but we've been taught by somebody else that this is not what's happening. No, I just curse your future. I just condemn you. You'll never amount to much. That's cursing. You thought it was a word. That's not a word at all. You do it to yourself. You curse yourself before you curse someone else. Oh, I'm just trying to get into how intricate this thing is. We're just overlooking the power we have. You can curse yourself to be a good person. Say, I'm just going to do better tomorrow. I just cursed myself. Because cursing is two things synchronized together by melanin. And if all you're doing is negative cursing, you're denying the whole side of yourself. You're going to live like that. So cursing is positive, cursing is negative. See, those are the two actions, the two stairs on the melanin. One is nature, one is nurture. You're still talking about melanin, but you don't know it. Because we switch words to keep you as stupid as possible. That's the objective. When I was organizing people for the mental institution, we were taught never to educate, manipulate. Never educate, manipulate. You want to control people? Never educate them. Never call a slave a slave. So what's a slave? A slave is somebody I own. I have to do what I want. Well, I ain't going to be your slave. Never educate, manipulate. Call him Joe. Look, Joe, pick that up. Never educate, manipulate. That's how we control people in the world. So we're dealing with the spirituality of our melanin. What we're saying is radiating all through our bodies. You can make yourself sick by what you say. What you think that is? That's melanin. You're using the spiritual side of melanin to hurt yourself. We're looking at movement, and we're giving movement different names, but the primary movement of your body is melanin. That's the mover. That's the shaker. Pancreas stress. Pancreas stress. Nonetheless, we're looking at melanin and how it moves and these different names we give it. Let us just say that you don't know anything about melanin. All you know is you're forgetting things. I don't know what I did with my keys. They were just over here the other day. I just put my keys down. I can't figure out where I put them at. Well, melanin is memory. Melanin stores memory. I told you that. So actually, you're having problems with your melanin. Yeah. So all I have to do is know how to nurture your melanin with a supplement, glutamine, ginkgo, gotu-kola, trying to give your melanin the right relationship. Because I broke up a relationship. Anything that functions singularly in your body is going to be trouble. Sugar goes into your drugs category. It functions singularly. It is made singularly. It's extracted from a plant, and now it's a single element of a plant. Single things cause problems. Coca plant, take out the cocaine. It's a single thing that's going to cause a problem. Are you still with me? Poppy is a plant, no problem. Take out a single thing, heroin, morphine, you got a problem. Single things are dangerous. Things in relationships synchronize. That's no problem. So I want you to be single. Think of a single thing. There should be one universal currency. That's going to cause a problem. Because this thing is one. There's not one language, not one dance, one type of music, one race, one flower, one tree, one oak. There's no such thing as one. The only one is God. Everything else, if it copies that one, it's going to have some problems. Because it's only one. Now, when I present this single thing, I'm separating the melanin from its relationship. Now melanin is looking for the relationship. It's like I have a 20-year-old man who's just watched BET or some pornographic rap music, you know, where they're shaking the booty, backing it up, back it up, shake that booty, you know what I mean, thong around, you know. So, I got a 20-year-old guy who's horny, got a 6-pack of Viagra and 1 rubber. You better hide your daughter. Single. He's looking for his compliment, but he doesn't know how to look for it, or what the spiritual ingredient is to look for it, or what state of mind he is. All he knows, look for it. That's when we take the melanin from its relationship. It must be in a relationship to work. So what we do is take a drug and give it to you to cause a breakup of the relationship. You see, it's a breakup of the relationship. That's what we cause with these drugs. We don't tell you that. You Everything has a relationship. You have calcium, you have magnesium, you have sodium, you have potassium. Now, I'm going to break up that relationship because I want 1 sodium, 2 potassium. I'm going to break up that relationship and give all the power to sodium. The relationship is destroyed. The relationship said, this is the way it is in nature, and I've nurtured it another way. Are you still following me here? So, we're saying that I give a lady who's pregnant with a baby some alcohol or some cocaine or some white sugar. Now I've destroyed the natural relationship of the calcium, magnesium, sodium. I've destroyed the natural relationship. I've altered the relationship. If you alter the relationship, it alters you. The alteration of the relationship starts with some chemicals. I'm saying cocaine or alcohol, but I've altered the natural relationship in your body. So I give a lady who's pregnant with a little girl some heroin. The little girl in her womb, which is actually her uterus, is fighting the heroin, but the little girl's eggs cannot fight it because it doesn't have a liver or anything. So the heroin is going to the 3rd generation. Are you with me? Yeah. I've just messed up 3 generations just like that. By offering her a drink, I've just destroyed her eggs. Are you still following me? Yeah. This is how lethal it is to deal with a single thing. You're going back 3 generations here. What I'm saying is you are the eggs of a woman, not the woman herself. What I'm saying is these children are eggs. You looking at them as something messed up. I'm saying they were eggs first, before they came a person second. And I got to the egg and didn't tell you that. I said, oh, just have a drink. The alcohol won't bother you. You're just 5 months pregnant. Don't worry about it. We'll sit down and drink a glass of wine. That alcohol went to the eggs because the eggs have no immune system. Yeah. 3 generations already. So you sit down and somebody offer you a drink, you just tell them, brother, you're trying to mess up my eggs. Yeah. Yeah, give this alcohol to your sperm. Brother, you just messed up your sperm. It's because we're not looking at the whole totality of the subject because we have a degree of understanding. When you get educated by the Europeans, no matter what the subject, you have a degree of understanding. They never tell you, I'm going to give you a holistic degree. They say, I'm going to give you a degree, a baccalaureate degree, a master's degree, a PhD degree. I'm not going to give you the whole subject. So all you have is a degree of understanding. You come out to school thinking you got the whole understanding. You don't have it. You just have a degree of understanding. 2 degrees, 3 degrees, they ain't tell you how many. So when we have an education about chemistry or biology, all we have is a degree of understanding. So it's kind of hard to talk to people, get in awe of their little piece of understanding about whatever the subject is. No, you don't have the holistic understanding of this subject. How many times did they say mention melanin? Melanin? What that? I thought watermelon, but I don't buy the melanin. They never even mention it in the classroom. But yet that's what they're studying. So we're going to be more mindful of the effect of chemicals on our eggs and on our sperm. You can't sit up all night drinking beer, giving your sperm beer. You can't do that. It's not going to grow properly any more than you feeding beer to a plant or soda pop to a plant. It's not going to grow properly. But you're nourishing your sperm and your egg the same way. How can the tree grow? How can the sperm? After a while you say, I don't need no book to understand this because I've never seen a rat use a book to understand what to eat. I've never seen that. You have to understand this with your melanin. You say, this feels right. I may not understand what he's saying, but this feels right. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about this book. I'm talking about your spirit. I'm talking about that melanin in you is trying to talk to the melanin in me so we can be mellow. So you have to feel certain information. Some information you can't read about. It's like I write books. I'm literate. So you say he's intelligent, but I have no literacy in another subject. You're not a farmer. Farmer can't read and write, but he's literate in his feel. He can pick up the soul and say, this soul needs some calcium. He is literate, but not book literate, but you're illiterate when you walk on that farm. Are you still with me? You just think it deals with books? No. He has literacy, but not in your subject. That doesn't make him dumb. He doesn't need to know your subject. Fishermen don't need to know nothing about farming. They're fishermen. Their literacy is in fishing. But take them out of that, you can call me illiterate. You still follow where I'm going? No. All of us are literate. But what's the subject you're literate in? That's the question. Some people are very literate when it comes to relationships. They're always giving you advice. Oprah said when she gave her show that you shouldn't do that. Oprah knows. She's single. She's a billionaire and can't find a brother to screw her. What? I screw her over a 6-pack of beer. You know, most brothers, hell, be on welfare and get laid. Have a relationship. Please, a billionaire can't find a boyfriend? Please, I'll bleach my skin and marry the heifer. That's another subject. I went too ghetto there. I did. Excuse me, Oprah. So all of us are literate, but just in different subjects. So don't think because you don't know books, you don't know this. Hell, I got to sit down and talk to a fisherman. I don't know about the darn fish. You know what I mean? All I know is that the fish travel around, like in Kenya or someplace else. The fish travel where the food goes. So the fishermen follow the fish and they say, "You're a pirate." What are you talking about? The fish moves, so I had to move. But all of a sudden now you're a pirate and now they're going to shoot at you. The fish move. I got to move to get me with the fish. So there's certain things that you innately know. You know birds don't eat out of the same tree every day. They ain't dumb. They don't go to McDonald's every day. Some days they eat out another tree. They say, I got to eat out of this tree because I'm going in the ghetto. I got to eat this tree because I'm going to see some white folks. And they switch their diet around based on what they're doing. Because they are literate when it comes to vegetation. So everything has a degree of intelligence because everything has melanin. Therefore, everything is intelligent. Everything is spiritual. Everything has a language. Trees talk. Minerals talk. Dolphins talk. Babies talk. Unborn babies talk. Everything that has melanin talks. It's in the secret life of plants how trees talk to each other. Daffodils talk to each other. Metals talk to each other. Iron talks to iron. Everything that has this melanin quality talks, and it has literacy. But since we have a degree of understanding, we think that we're literate and they don't. No. Everything alive talks. But you learn that when you have a holistic understanding. But when you have a degree of understanding, it's totally mystifying to you. So you go around trying to find the right answer, but you're knocking on the wrong door, asking the wrong person, and worse yet, in the wrong building. Let's get back to this melanin. I was trying to take it into the birthing process and the synchronization of the relationship. The melanin synchronizes relationships. It's how a relationship is formed, be that relationship synthesis, decomposition, or displacement. The blinking of your eyes is clocked by melanin. We call it the circadian rhythm. Melanin regulates the clocks in your body. How many times your eyes are going to blink, how long your eyelashes will grow, how long your hair will grow, and sometimes the synchronization of it is off. Sometimes it's been disturbed by chemicals. So a little baby may grow an inch overnight. It may grow a half inch overnight of its finger, arm, leg, eyebrow, eyelashes. So every morning is a state of negotiation for them because something grew and now they have to realign themselves. But that misalignment is caused by something that occurred to the melanin. In other words, if you get less than 2 hours of sunlight today, you have seasonal affective disorder, you are mildly depressed. If you are black people, you cannot have less than 2 hours of sunlight a day. You're sunlight dependent. But if you're around the Europeans, you come into caves like this, a building or a classroom, and you're always away from the sun. We were educated outside in the sun. Some of us have different rhythmicities. Some of us are rhythm learners. Some of us are sound learners. Some of us are touch learners. We have different learning types and learning styles. But they're forcing you to use one learning style. Sit down, be quiet, take notes. Well, you may be a rhythm learner and bang on a pencil. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Or just move your leg. You're a rhythm learner. Stop wiggling in that chair like that. You need to be on Ritalin. And there you go, putting the child on crack. And Ritalin is the same chemically as crack. There is no difference. But I'm saying there are different rhythmicities in your system. But we only play one rhythmicity, and that's what gets, when you do one, you're going to get in some problems. So the child is a rhythm system, and that rhythm system is mediated by the melanin. But the melanin was compromised or destroyed by someone eating a diet that's alien to their race. It took your ancestors millions of years to put together an African diet, and here you go, changing it around, eating part of a pig's ass, called it bacon, waking up eating ass. Wonder why I call you an asshole. I'm just kidding. So we're off our diet because we're off our culture. You're off your culture when you're off your diet. You're disrespecting your ancestors. You're disrespecting a holy place. You're desecrating a holy image. You're doing all of those things that we call ma'at. Our ancestors took millions of years to perfect this diet. Here comes the Europeans changing the relationship, changing the synthesis of your system. They don't eat that, eat corn. Don't eat that, eat breadfruit. Don't eat that. They change your whole thing. And then you say, yeah, that's soul food. Yeah, that's true. Good for whose soul? That's what I want to know. And why did they give it a spiritual name? And what did they mean when they called it soul food? Oh, yes, because that's what they were doing. They were attacking the soul of your race, the spirituality of your race. Do not think they haphazardly give things names. The only African word is nigger. It comes from the word Niger. They don't want you to say Niger. Don't say that word. That's a bad word. It's Niger. The black people captured by the Niger River were called Nigers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh yeah, there's too much spirit in that word. No, don't say that. Say mule people, mulattoes. Say something, don't say that. So I'm just saying that the spirit, that's coming at the spirit, and the thing to give you the most spirituality, to connect everything together, is your spirituality. To attack that is to attack you, and attacking you from that level. It's no accident what they do. It's mystifying to you. They go around calling a chicken chest a chicken titty. I mean breast. I've never seen a chicken with Brazil on. Chickens don't have a breast. They have a chest. Duh. These names are very, it keeps you confused. So there's no accident that they're doing these sort of things, you see. No accident at all. The chickens are really kind of dumb when you think about it. If you were a chicken and raised by some white folks, I suggest you go on a fast, quick. The more you eat, the more you go to McDonald's. You need to go on a fast. That's what I was saying. Another subject altogether. Now then, this melanin, this civilizing chemical, gives us our ability to get along with each other. But if I change the ratio, the relationship between the elements in your body, I've nurtured your personality and changed it so you can't get along with this person. All I need to do is take away the lithium, which is in the middle of your brain. The right side of your brain is zinc. The left side of your brain is iron. The middle of your brain is lithium. Your heart is arsenic. Every part of your body has an element that it dominates in. Every part. You follow me? All I have is an elementary education, and right with that, I can do most of the things I need to do, because I know where these elements go. I know that zinc is high in your eyes, you see. That's when you drive in a car at night and the light hits a cat's eye or a dog's eye, you see it reflect. That's zinc. So I know zinc helps mediate the contact with you and your melanin. So I'm going to control the zinc, yeah. And then I'm going to alter the way the lithium functions. When I take away the lithium, which is an element found on what we call in chemistry the periodic table, when I take that away, you become manic depressive. If I want to stop manic depression, I give you lithium. Are you following what I'm doing? I'm just manipulating these relationships. Iron makes you rational and think. You break down thoughts. If I want you to be emotional, I take away the iron. What I do, give a lady a period, 7 days. Iron drops. Now she's more emotional. Just manipulating quite well. If I want you not to lose the ability to nurture yourself or someone else, or go into menopause early, I just block you from absorbing manganese. Manganese causes the ladies to go in menopause at 35. When I drop manganese, the lady goes into menopause even if she's 7 hours old, or 7 days old, or 17 years old. Because manganese causes that. So I just manipulate certain elements and I can control you. And these elements, relationship is formed by melanin. So all I have to do is alter the ability of melanin to synchronize manganese and iron in the right harmony, to civilize them, and I essentially altered you. But don't tell the Negroes that, you see. Get them to take bleach. Bleach is not bleaching your skin, it's bleaching your brain. Ever have 7. And you going around trying to act like those retards. You got 12 melanin centers, they have 7. So you denying the rest of yourself by following them. They're not as smart as you are. The more melanin you are, the more intelligent you are. The more intelligence you have with smell, with touch, with vision. You have all this intelligence. You're just using one to measure your whole life. One will destroy you. You're just using one to measure. You're denying all the other intelligence that you have. So when you're trying to talk to them and you show them this emotional rainbow that you have, you're too emotional. You get too emotional. What? This is emotion. You just ain't never seen it before. Listen, you look at them trying to explain that I'm just being human. You want me to get in a tweet. That's all. I don't want to go there. But I'm just saying, you're showing them all of this emotion, but it scares the hell out of them. Look, calm down. Wait a minute. That's because of the melanin. There's certain physical things that makes you more human. Because I can see my hand out the corner of my eyes. That's called a field of vision. The Orientals can see here. The Europeans can see here. This is their field of vision. If you walk over here, you'll walk out that field of vision. They won't see you. You walk right by them, they won't even see you. You know why they didn't see you? Because you walked out that field of vision. That white man walked by me and didn't see you. That's right. You walked out his field of vision. You see more of life than anybody. You're black. You got all these emotions, all this intelligence. It scares people. I was on a bus with these people for 2 weeks. We were going to Mecca, Medina, and something I was doing when I was young and adventurous. And I'm on the desert with these people for 2 weeks. East Indians, Europeans, Arabs, and some other assortment of crackazoids. So, I mean, melanin challenged people. I'm trying to be scientific, you know what I mean? I'm on the bus with these folks for 2 weeks, and, you know, white people smell different, you know, and then the East Indians smell different, you know, and I'm getting all of these smells, you know, so I had to get off the bus because I was getting funkerized. I was getting like funky, you know, so I stepped off the bus, and I just got on the bus accidentally. They were talking about me. I got on the bus, he comes smelling like vegetables and fruit. I didn't know we smelled. I I really didn't know black people smell. They said, they come there, smell like some damn vegetables and fruit, smell like a banana. Damn, I didn't know I was offending them. I thought they were funky and offending me. I'm offending them. I said, well, excuse me, I didn't know I smelled like something alive. Only dead things stink. And you know that. A dead dog in the street will stink. And I'm walking on the bus, smell like alive. They say, here he comes, smell like something alive. They smell like what they are. They have that melanin challenge. So those are some of the things about the chemistry of the melanin, how it radiates in all these different areas. It's not just something you see in a lab. It's something you feel. It's something you feel. It's something you sense. It's something you feel the spirit of things. That's your melanin. I don't know. I get a bad spirit from that person. That's your melanin. You have this large vocabulary of emotions and spirituality, and other people don't have it. You're assuming they're thinking because you think. They don't think like you. They process thoughts, but they don't think. You think. Thinking is a creation process. The more melanin, the more creative you are. Don't you know we've created everything on this planet? The cell phone, the laptop, the weed whacker, the clock, the bag, the mailbox. You name it, we created it. That's melanin. They copy. They don't create. We create the dance, the fashion, the hairstyle. When they put this first Egyptian exhibit, they took it to Chicago in 1832. The sisters were there doing this African dance. It's a fertility dance where you're showing the movement of the baby and the fallopian tubes and all that kind of stuff. They call it hoochie coochie. Hey, look at them doing the hoochie coochie. It's a spiritual dance. And they were dressed in Egyptian clothes, which you can kind of see through. White people copied it and call it nightgowns. Nightgowns, because they associate our clothes with sexuality and animals. So they dress up like us at night and call it nightgowns. That's Egyptian clothes. Weird. They just copy things because we create everything. We created the internet. That was created in Mammoth, New Jersey by black men. The internet. The Windows program created by a black man. We create everything, and the other people steal everything. They even stole you. That's how you got to the Caribbean. They steal everything. Your religion, your clothes, your language, your science, everything. Well, that's because we have this high amount of melanin, so we do the highest amount of creativity of any race. We created more things to help improve life. The Europeans create things to destroy life. Are you still with me there? Everything we created was to improve life. Mailboxes, bread slices. It's an endless list. But they just copy. But that's our melanin. It's coming in different forms. So we have a high amount of literacy and creativity, which they don't count creativity in IQ tests. Are you still with me? Yeah. They don't count black. They only count white. They fascinated with words. Oh, he talks very intelligent. Yeah, so does a thief. They just measure words because that's a big deal to them to talk. You introduce language to the world. You introduce the concept of zero, which changed mathematics for history. Before then, the Europeans counted in a row, what you call Roman numerals. When we came up with zero, you could line them up vertically. Changed everything. We invented zero, which to you is no big deal, but that was a big deal. Changed the way people think forever. Zero is how you program computers. You use 1 and 0. Without 0, there would be no computer language. I'm trying to tell you what your gift is. So nonetheless, I don't want to berate this, because people think I'm talking about white people. But I'm not talking about white people. Or white girls. They would say that. I was like, white people. I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about how great you are. And how your responsibility is not to destroy your melanin with drugs, be it nicotine or caffeine. To make a drug, you usually have to cook it. Cocaine is cooked. Coffee is cooked. Nicotine is cooked. Whiskey is distilled, which is cooking. If you cook it, you can make a drug. That's for sure. You can just trace all the drugs, you gotta cook it. We ate natural foods because it nourishes our melanin. We had created the first sprouting containers found in the pyramids because we were eating sprouts. We were eating live things to keep our melanin alive. But we've gotten away from that and we got into this demelaninizing kind of state, following the Europeans, eating things that is not even part of our whole nutritional vocabulary. White potatoes, that's not even our food. We have problems digesting it. White yams, okay. White potatoes, no. This wheat is too acid for us. Spelt, yeah. Kamut, amaranth, yeah, fine. Kush, yeah, fine. But when you get into this wheat, coming from that lint that they used to eat, you're creating too much acid, which will destroy your system. We got to get back into eating our natural grains, the spelt, the kamut, the amaranth, kiwa, kush. Maybe some of these words are foreign to you. But I'm just saying these are some of our grains that we ate. We didn't just shape bread like in a loaf. Bread was given spiritual shape. Some bread was pyramidal. We call it kat. We shape bread differently. Europeans will shape the bread in a loaf like it's some fat penis. They're sick. And then put a rubber crust on it. It's a sick vibration. So, and the stress reaction to melanin being challenged is usually caused prenatally by different stresses on the baby's system. Different systems are stressed. Reproductive system, excretory system, and we call the digestive system. We have these different organs that act together. When they act together in a family, we don't say family, we say system in medicine. So various families are some kind of way stressed. And once the baby is stressed prenatally, the stress reaction lasts forever. Nature does not forgive or forget. That's something that God does. But when you do something against nature, you pay for it forever. Simple matter of just being born prematurely. The Europeans decide that maybe you're born too late or too early, and they'll speed up your birthing process. All babies are born on time. But if it's not fitting in the golf schedule, or something of that sort, they will speed up the birth. And this causes some ancestral memory dislocation. So various systems in the child is compromised before it's born because of the emotionality, the spiritual emotionality or vocabulary of the mother and father that were not developed. We are born able to talk from the moment we are conceived. Talking doesn't begin after you're born, it starts in your mother's womb. Babies talk, they cry, they laugh, they play. You do all of these things before they're born. And they're not actually playing, they're actually learning social skills, learning how to move in 5 dimensions and do 5th-dimensional thinking. This is not playing. Children are not playing, they're learning how to be a person. They're actually going to work when they play. Playgrounds were designed for children and their parents. Interacting with them helps them to learn social limits, learn degrees of thinking. The playground today is a military designed by the Europeans, but playgrounds were designed for the family to play together. They pray together, they play together, they eat together. Playing is a family activity, and the Europeans in some kind of way divided that up. So what we do is we design playgrounds to stop you from having unified thinking. It causes fragmenting thinking because the swings are not related to the sliding board. There is no continuity in the playground, and that causes you not to have continuity in your thinking. It causes you to divide up your thinking, just by the way we design the playgrounds. Mostly designed for monkeys. An athlete wouldn't practice in a playground. It's too dangerous. Pipes and gadgets and things like that, so you can really hurt yourself. and there's no warning on any of the playground items. But that causes fragmented thinking because the playground is not united. Whereas a child will unite its play activities. A leaf will fall on the ground, and the child pick it up and pretend it's an airplane. For playing in the airplane, it may then pretend it's a boat. So it's telling a whole story with the item. Each item in the playground is meant to tell a whole story. That's why toys had stories on them, spiritual stories, writing on them. Because a play toy is a technology that develops culture and develops the child's holistic way of thinking. It is acting on the melanin. That's all I'm trying to say, essentially, just using social words to help you get into the flavor of what I'm saying. So with the disconnecting of the toys on the playgrounds, and the toys not being specific for the child, there's not one size fits all. There's not one size of shoe that fits everybody. Every toy should be designed to fit the learning type, learning style, thinking activity of the child. When you have one type of toy, one is going to cause problems, because that's going against your melanin. Melanin wants unification. It wants family. It causes vitamins and minerals to be in a family. It's a unifying chemical. We are very united as a group. Maybe to us we are dysfunctional, and perhaps some of us are, but we are more united than the Japanese and Chinese and East Indians. Don't let them fool you. They do a lot of backstabbing, lying, and stealing on each other. They're full of incest. For those of you that's having sex with children, or your sister and your brother, that's what they do. We do the least amount of that of any race. Don't let them fool you. I used to be a therapist for those people. They are sick people. What I'm saying is unification happens before the baby is born and after the baby is born. It should be expressed in the way the child plays and the things that the child plays with. But if you want to see if the child is stressed by melanin or stressed by the social and emotional environment of the parents, they usually pee more on themselves or pee the bed, which is a protest reaction, or they cry at a higher pitch, or you pick them up and they stiffen their legs, or we call it splaying the fingers. They do like this. They're scared. That's a stress reaction. When they do their arms like that, that indicates a stress reaction. That's why they say, stick them up, you're under arrest. You go back to your original fear position. You see? Nothing is done accidentally. That's why the sirens cry. Ah! That's a child crying. So you get nuded from that. You lose your response to children, the child in yourself and the child that you have. But you're still clear with me. Oh, we do this quite well. We make you dysfunctional in so many different ways. It's ridiculous. Now, the stress reaction of the child, they don't have all of these tools you have to handle that stress. You know, like lying to somebody, beating up somebody. You know how you release stress, go out and get drunk. Go out and have sex with somebody you shouldn't even have sex with, a midget or something. All these things, we're just releasing our stress to other things, through music, shopping, because we don't have a viable way to release our stress. And that's a problem in the child. They don't have all the tools you have. So all they have is peeing, bowel movements. Are you with me there? So they'll pee more. They have a bowel movement. Say, I don't like what you did, Mama. Take the shit. I mean, you know, have it. So they'll do that more, because that's that medium of protest, and they indicate that they're under stress. Well, this stress feeds back into your adulthood. So you grow up and you still don't have the tools you need to handle stress. And you still follow me there? The child is under stress when they stiffen their legs, when they splay their fingers, put their arms like this. That is a stress reaction in a child, and you need to do something about it. It can be emotional stress, because we're holistic. Spiritual stress. Stress is not just something physical, slamming the door or cursing. It is also something spiritual and emotional. And physically, it shuts down certain parts of your body, like I was mentioning, the reproductive system, digest. They're going to have a reaction to it too. So that compromises or decreases the amount of nutrients a child can get from itself, because we feed ourselves emotionally first before we feed someone else emotionally second. We're intimate with ourselves first before we're intimate with someone else second. If I don't know how to be intimate with myself, how can I be intimate with you? I'm just saying it happens to you first. Remember, a crazy person talks crazy to themselves first. Then they talk crazy to you second. Because they've been practicing crazy all day. You know, they have these conversations like, when I say this to you, you're going to say this to me. And when I say this to you, you're going to say this to me. Then I talk to you, you don't follow the script in my head. Then I get angry with you, when actually I'm angry with my own crazy. But don't worry about it. Just be crazy and you understand what I'm saying. So these things cascade. Because you didn't handle stress well when you were an infant, you won't be able to handle it well when you're an adult. You don't have the emotional tools to handle stress. All you know is take it out on shopping, drinking, getting in an argument. Because some people don't feel good unless they cuss you out. Some Negroes have to cuss out a person every day to feel good. Yeah, they call you up and tell you all their problems. They know it's going to make you depressed. You can hang up and say, oh my God. Because they don't have no other way to handle the stress to dump it on you. Now you carrying that around with you all day. That's why I say just talk to one Negro a month and then go to therapy for that. Nonetheless, we want to help you understand this whole stress reaction. Dr. Stevenson, can you...